We are the main event. Welcome to the main event. This is what you wanted to see. This is why you are here. Veronica, even Tampon Tim is going red. LOL, his face. Yeah, he was going red. And now Kamala is so delighted to be here. It's like, oh my gosh, she was so happy to be here in this call. You see, from that first frame, this is the very first frame from her, this call, and she made sure to do this. This was not just in her living room, and she made sure to have a nice lighting. She made sure to look into the camera. We're gonna find out if she was using a teleprompter. I have not watched this full video. I haven't watched it. You know that you love when I react live to this. I have no idea what she's going to say. I know about some words and sentences that are worthy of an analysis, but this is going to be a complete blind analysis, okay? I haven't watched this, and the first frame is, well, she's happy. And she set this up. She set this up quite well, a bit of warmth with that tiny plant, a warm background, the flag. That is nice. So let's listen to her words one more time. Yeah, I know that you don't like her, but let's do this.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Back at you, brother. You are such an extraordinary leader, and we have become lifelong friends.
I have doubts about that. I have my doubts about the lifelong friends, but let's give her a pass. It's just, we are just getting started.
I just, in front of everyone, I want to thank you, Tim.
Who is everyone? Who is everyone? Who else was in this call?
You lead with courage. You lead with heart. You see the people. You care about the people.
And we have a problem. We have issues listening to her. The volume is too low. It's like she maybe is hanging out so much with Biden that she begins to speak like this, and you can barely hear her. It should be normalized. This audio should have been normalized, but Kamala should have been normalized. And for those of you who have worked with audio, you know what I mean. But
you believe in uplifting the dignity to which all people are entitled, and you do it and you have a sense of fun when you're doing it. But you are an extraordinary leader, and obviously the people of Minnesota are very, very lucky to have you there. But you are a national leader and a dear friend, and thank you. Noelle,
Noelle is the lady who had the two books that I mentioned.
Thank you for your work in Pennsylvania and all that you did for our campaign. And let me just say to everyone on this call, I am so grateful for you.
Yeah, so grateful for you. You know that Kamala, usually she emphasizes with that head side to side, something that Americans do a lot. But she pressed her lips when she said that she was so grateful. She's not that grateful. She is maybe she is a bit spiteful for this.
I am so grateful for you.
I'm so grateful for you. There you have a tiny lip pressing, which shouldn't be there, but that's what we got.
And I'm so thankful to you. I'm thankful for your love of our country and your willingness to put the work into it.
I'm pleased that she's not going to talk about the opportunity economy, or maybe she will. I don't know. I haven't watched this.
I'm thankful for the faith that you put in me and Governor Walz and our team. And I am thankful because I know your character is such that you're not going to get knocked down. And you're in this fight. And you're in it for all the right reasons.
Okay. My guess is that she's not reading from a teleprompter. It would be way more robotic. It takes a skill to read from a teleprompter in a natural way to sound natural. Okay, usually you sound robotic or sound very with a steady frequency of words. It's not the case here, so she might be improvising this. And by the way, something that is very important: if you are reading from a teleprompter and you have this nice setup, somebody should have written that script. And if somebody wrote this as a script, then that somebody sucks at writing scripts. So we can assume that she is just ad-libbing this.
And I know that about you. It's why you're part of this call right now and all the work that you did over those 107 days and even before. That's your nature. And the outcome of this election obviously is not what we wanted. It is not what we worked so hard for.
She usually doesn't, let's say, slur her words. She usually has a better diction, and especially you have seen those videos of Kamala Harris, especially maybe 10 years ago. Let's not be that rough. Maybe 1 year ago. You see those videos in which she is pronouncing words correctly. You can listen to the modulation of the syllables, but right now that is not happening. That's why so many people are saying that she might be, under Hennessy's effect.
But I am proud of the race we ran. And your role in this was critical. What we did in 107 days was unprecedented. Think about the coalition that we built, and we were so intentional about that.
Especially the coalition of celebrities that most of them were paid for. And then it was an endorsement or something paid. You remember that there's a lot of lawsuits pending because you have to disclose when you receive money for an endorsement because it is a commercial exchange.
You would hear me talk about it all the time. Being a daughter of parents who are active in the civil rights movement, I know and believe that the best movements that are about progress in our country mean that it's leaders that we are dedicated to the coalition, to bringing people together that seemingly have nothing in common, but have everything in common.
Okay, this is peak. This is peak, Kamala. Bring people together that seem to not have anything in common, but have a lot in common. This is peak Kamala Harris. This is not somebody writing her script. No, this is 100% the vice president.
A coalition where we bring people together based on a deep love of our country.
She has repeated those words like twice at least.
And our understanding that the strength of our country will be a function of our willingness to put in the work.
Is it me if she's repeating the words? And she has already said put in the work. And she's going to lower her voice in a couple seconds as well.
And that we will do that work with a sense of joy, yes.
Okay, no, she's absolutely. This is Hennessy. This is Hennessy 100%. Look at that. You know, when she mentions the joy.
With a sense of joy, yes.
Yes, and her jaw goes a bit to one side. Yes, it's it's just getting started. Just getting started. Where is Doug? Doug, why?
With a sense of work ethic and understanding it's going to be hard, but it's good work. It's good work. To be engaged in a collective fight for America's future. And it means so much to me and to Governor Walz that you knocked on doors, you called friends.
You know those moments when you have a meeting at your home, you have a meeting of friends, a gathering of friends, and some friends begin to leave and you get them to the door, maybe to the car, and you keep speaking, you keep talking on the street. And it's like 2 a.m., maybe 3 a.m. There are still 3 or 4 friends left. And one of those last friends that leave, they start really talking on the street, talking to you on the street, and talk like 5, 10, 20 minutes. And you say, hey, when are you going to leave, man? It's like, okay, maybe you like being here, you like being here with at our meeting, our gathering, but it's time to leave. And they don't leave. And they're like 30 minutes on the street talking to you, and you're freezing, and you say, and you could say, hey, we should go back inside, but you cannot go back inside because you went into the street to tell your friend goodbye, but he won't leave. You know how many times that has happened to me? This game, okay, man, I'll go home. And it's not like they are drunk, because, well, if you love your friends, you will not allow them to drink and drive. Maybe someone else is waiting to leave and they want to leave, but this friend will not stop talking. This is what I feel right now. I have a deja vu of those times in my life. This is exactly that. And they start talking about another topic and they don't stop. And you say, all right, man, all right, we can talk about this tomorrow, maybe, or maybe we can share this on X or something like that. But no, they won't. And here it comes, the best parts of this.
You called in favors. You said, hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now I need you to show up at the campaign office. You put in the time. It was personal for you.
No, no way. I have to put a marker in this. I have to put a marker in this for future reference. We need to listen to this again.
You called in favors. You said, hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now I need you to show up at the campaign office. You put in the time. It was personal for you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's this hand waving and that stuff. It's peak. It's peak. No. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing, and it's sad that you can imagine that everyone should have people who care about you. And know that you cannot go on a call that's going to be seen by millions and millions who voted for you, 74 million to be exact. These people who are around you, they wouldn't want you to be seen like this. Where are those people? Where is her daughter, her stepdaughter that should be taking care of her? Like, don't do this. Remember, don't drink like 5 hours before this or something like that. I don't know. You should have some kind of circle, of inner circle, to tell you you're gonna be embarrassed. You're gonna embarrass yourself doing this. This is not right. I mean, we can laugh at this all that we want. We can make fun of this. But in the sense, when you go to the person, and I've told you many times, I have nothing against Kamala Harris as a person. When you look at this from a personal standpoint, this is sad. This is just sad. Well,
and you gave all that you could to support our campaign. Because of your efforts, get this, we raised an historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion from grassroots supporters alone.
She was not supposed to say that. She was not supposed to say that, and she said that. I can get, oh my God. And this call was live. Again, my question is, who is them? Who is the people who was watching this live? Besides the 3 people that we have seen so far. I don't know. What was this broadcasted? I don't know. But if this was live, she was not supposed to reveal those 1.4 billion. She says that like if it's a good thing. No, that's not a good thing, Kamala. That was a huge mistake. That was a huge mistake.
The most in presidential campaign history.
The most expensive presidential campaign in history, you mean? That is not the win you think it is. That's not something that you should be saying.
Nearly 8 million donors contributed an average donation of about $56 to fuel our people-powered campaign.
I would say cocaine power campaign, but well, that's just me. I'm just doing making an allegory, of course. I'm not talking about actual cocaine, of course.
And understand that the work that we did included the work that so many of you here did, which is to talk to first-time voters. Many of you are first-time voters. And to talk about how being involved can make a difference. And that remains true.
And you know that first-time voters, no single or few of those first-time voters, they didn't have anything to do with the woke mind parasitic virus. Nobody wanted to do with that and all that crazy stuff. The only thing you got was the crazy women, the liberal women, who were hell-bent on killing babies. And no, you cannot win an election like that. Still, you got 74 million votes, which is concerning, but we dodged a bullet. The whole world, not only the United States, the whole world dodged a huge bullet with this.
And that's one of the pieces that I just want us to please take away, that our fight for freedom and for opportunity and for the promise of America, it included, for example, nearly almost 4 million first-time contributors to our campaign. Because
they were fool me once, that's on me.
Because of the work you did of helping people know that they can be engaged and that they're not outside, that they're inside, that we're all in this together. And that work continues.
And I guess that the bleeding of money continues. If you are sucker enough for this.
The work must continue of reminding ourselves that we have an ability to stay engaged in a way that will make a difference. The work that you all did.
What are you talking about? What are you saying? Those last 10 seconds did not make sense at all.
The work must continue.
Wait a second. Even the captions are glitching.
The work must continue.
The work must continue. Kamala, do you know how English works? English is not my first language, and I know that doesn't make sense. The work, what? The work, what?
The work must continue.
The work must continue. Well, okay, yeah, but is that your Native American accent now?
Of reminding ourselves that we have an ability to stay engaged in a way that will make a difference. The work that you all did.
But make a difference in the role. Yeah, this is Biden. Biden must be laughing. Biden must be eating popcorn at home. Well, not eating popcorn himself. Maybe Jill is giving the popcorn to him, but
it's going to have lasting effect. Again, I'll say.
Yeah, we know what has a lasting effect. We have seen your videos from 10 years ago, Kamala, and you did not. You absolutely did not speak like this. It is something that was not expected, that you were going to be the candidate. Nobody expected you to be the candidate. You were given this chance we have to say thanks to Biden. We have to thank Biden for this. Well, yes.
Yeah, no, the election didn't turn out like we wanted it to.
Didn't she say that already?
Certainly not as we planned for it to. But Understand that the work we put into it was about empowering people. That's the spirit with the work we did. Our spirit and our work was about saying that it is a strength that we each have to lift people up, as opposed to beating people down.
She's beginning to grab from those pieces of information that she was using on those interviews, lifting people up instead of beating people down. You know that she repeated that on rallies. She repeated that on interviews. She's remembering in that Hennessy haze. Oh, that sounds poetic. Hennessy haze. It's like purple haze, but Hennessy haze in this case. She makes 0 sense. In that Hennessy haze, she makes 0 sense. It could be. It could fit.
Our spirit and our work was about saying that it is a strength that we each have to lift people up, as opposed to beating people down. It is a strength we have that has lasting effect. So all that work that you did that was about engaging with other people, engaging with perfect strangers and in their face seeing a neighbor.
Engaging with perfect strangers and in their face seeing a neighbor. All right.
That has lasting effect.
You already mentioned the lasting effects, but okay.
It reminds people that there are leaders like you.
Who are you talking to, Kamala? I'm confused. You're talking to Tim Walz? That is Noel, this lady who presented, or who? Oh, or maybe you're talking to the people who have to keep sending money. You remember that recurring money that you were sending, those $10 that you were sending? You have to keep sending them, please, at least until 2026.
Who care and will bring us together. And sometimes in the darkest moments, people lose faith in that. Are there people out there that feel that way? And you
lose faith on what exactly? I lost track. I'm really trying to pay attention. But this is so hard to connect one sentence to the other.
It reminds people that there are leaders like you who care and will bring us together. And sometimes in the darkest moments, people lose faith in that.
People lose faith in the leaders that bring us together. Why? Is the idea of the leader is to bring faith in those darkest moments. So what makes people lose that faith? Do these leaders, maybe they don't make sense at all? Maybe they lie? Maybe they push hoaxes and they try to scam their way into the presidency? I don't know. Maybe that's the reason.
Are there people out there that feel that way? And you reminded people that, yes, there are. And there are a lot of us.
A lot of us that what? That lost the faith in leaders? You were supposed to be the leader. You're not making any sense. That's kind of a circular argument. This is more difficult than I thought.
And that strength cannot be taken from us.
That strength of what? I need to.
And there are a lot of us.
And there are a lot of us who are afraid of our leaders. Maybe Obama, he's her leader.
And that strength cannot be taken from us.
And that strength of thinking that Obama can bring her through the darkest path, through whatever. This is so complicated.
That is our strength.
Okay, good for you. I just lost track of whatever was coming out of your mouth.
It cannot be taken from us.
This is absolutely that friend that won't leave at the end of the party.
So listen, as I said the day after the election, I still strongly believe the light of America's promise will burn bright as long as we never give up.
Okay, that is something that we can understand. Thank you for that. But it's like never give up and your face. It's I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This is from a humane perspective, humanity perspective. This shouldn't have happened. I mean, they wanted to destroy. They wanted to make sure that she doesn't run in 2028. In the primaries, of 2028, they're going to play this on a huge screen and to say that no, she's out. She's out.
And we keep
the captions, we're not saying the captions.
Fighting. And the fight that fueled our campaign.
No, the money that fueled our campaign. Correct.
A fight for freedom and opportunity. That
the opportunity economy. She said that. The opportunity
did not end on November 5th. A fight for the dignity of all people. That did not end on November 5th.
This is important. This is the part that I told you that is important. She's saying that the fight did not end on November 5th. This upcoming part is important. Pay attention.
A fight for the future? A future in which all people receive the promise of America? No. A fight that is about a fight for the ideals of our nation, the ideals that reflect the promise of America. That fight's not over.
Okay, she's talking about a fight. Is she inciting something? Well, I'm going to tell you something about this. Have you find this peculiar that riots never materialized, that there was no disturbance in the force? That is very well aligned with the fact that these people have no money left. There were no money to pay for rioters and these mostly peaceful protests. So she could say whatever she wants about the fight that must continue, but unless there is money involved, unless there is an exchange of a mullah from their hands, mullah that they don't have, to the rioters, there will be no riots. So we can stay safe that way.
So look, we still have a lot to fight for. Okay? A future where every American can pursue their dreams, ambitions, and aspirations.
Oh, you said that in your campaign a lot. I remember. We could do like a montage that repeats that over and over again, and we will never end.
Where the women of America have the right to make decisions about their own body, not their government telling them what to do. Our fight for the rule of law, for freedom for all, for equal justice.
The rule of law. You're speaking of rule of law. Okay, Tim Walz has left the chat. Tim Walz have left the chat.
Justice for the sacred principle that everyone, no matter where they start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be upheld. That's not over.
That's not over. Are you really here, Kamala? Are you with us? Is that fight that you're talking about in the room with us right now? Are you? I don't know. Are you about to just slam your face against the table? I hope that there's a table. It seems that she's resting her elbows on a table, but she's about to go like funk in on the table. This this could have been like 4 minutes, and that's it. 4 minutes with a teleprompter. Write a script, and you would say that. But that way we wouldn't have the memes. We wouldn't have the memes. Add the teleprompter, remove the Hennessy, and maybe that's how we can have a proper conversation.
The sacred principle that everyone, no matter where they start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be upheld.
Yeah, that's how America works. It doesn't matter who's the president. That's the spirit of America.
That's not over. That fight's still in us, and it burns strong. And I know.
And well, and sometimes with a heartburn, that maybe that's what burns so strong. It's rather a heartburn.
Oh, this is an uncertain time. I'm clear-eyed about that.
You're clear-eyed. You are clear-eyed. Clear-eyed. I'm going to point out that she's clear-eyed. Again, this no comment. Besides that, this should never have happened, but it did, and we're having fun. Clear-eyed, my God, clear-eyed about that. This is Saturday Night Live, but like in the 80s or something like that.
I know you're clear-eyed about it, and it feels heavy.
No, you feel heavy, and we know exactly why you feel heavy. Let's not elaborate on that.
And I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you.
All right, so what do?
You have the same power that you did before November 5th.
Which is voting for a bunch of liars? You mean that power?
And you have the same purpose that you did.
Yeah, voting for a bunch of liars. She means it.
And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
Yeah, not even the worst address from any politician in the history of politicians. Yeah, this is how long is okay. This is like 1 minute left. We are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. We are almost there. And remember, if some of you watch the complete Harry and Meghan documentary, all 6 episodes with me, this is nothing compared to that.
Look, this mission that we have, it takes hard work.
You already said that like 5 minutes ago.
But as you've heard me say many times, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And in doing our work, we will remain committed and intentional about building community, building coalitions.
Yeah, if you have the money that you don't have.
Reminding people that we all have so much more in common than what separates us.
You already said that as well. Again, this could have been like 5 minutes and not 10.
We will be armed with the faith and the fuel that tells us what is possible and then drives us to achieve it.
I've thought about this. I've thought about creating some kind of shadow account on X. I don't know. You know that I have the ability to build community. She's saying that build community. I could build a community, like have this shadow account. It is my understanding that the Krasensteins have disappeared. Los enanos siniestros estos han desaparecido. And I've thought about creating an account like the Krasensteins, a shadow account, to shame anybody who would not consider Kamala as their candidate for 2028 and label everyone a racist, a misogynist if they don't vote for her in the primaries and wreak havoc. That would be just amazing. We have a couple of super chats, by the way, that are time sensitive in the sense that they are in the context that we are talking about. Jesus, your facial expressions and that head bubble while Walz was speaking are priceless. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's the only thing that I can do. React to this. Make this entertaining. And Salty Chrisa Patriot. Salty Chrisa Patriot, she is way too drunk to continue. This is sad. She is a joke. Yeah, this is a problem of not using a teleprompter. This is a problem with people around you that maybe don't care about you. This is actually sad. This is something that I don't want for anybody. Seriously, it's at a personal level. I don't know. I need to have empathy even for people that sometimes don't deserve it for many reasons. But don't you tell me that this isn't sad, that nobody, not even her minions or her family or her friends, could tell her, hey, you know what, make sure to not record this drunk as F.
So let's continue to organize and mobilize and stay engaged. And I thank you all. I thank you all. We are all in this together. All right?
Yeah.
We are all in this together.
All right.
And on this practical eve of Thanksgiving, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving with the ability and to find the ability at this moment to just remember there is so much to be thankful for.
Please leave. Get in the car and leave. We can keep this conversation tomorrow.
And so I wish for you that you are surrounded by the people you love, and
we know that you are not surrounded by the people you love, or at least not the people that can save you from this embarrassment.
Love you. As you know, I encourage you to be around family in whatever way you compose that family, but to take a moment and just reflect on all the good you have done and all the good you have yet to do. We are powerful, those of us who love our country, and we got a lot of work to do.
And we got a lot of work to do. This is basically the motto of her campaign. We got a lot of work to do, and we are finished. That was long and painful. I hope that I made that at least entertaining for you. This is something I need to elaborate on this. I think that how is it possible? How is it possible that you need to, in some way or another, you are the Democrat Party. Imagine that you have this cabal, the Democrat Party, and Obama has already stopped banging the wall with his head, like banging his head against the wall, bam, 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 bam. Michelle has said, okay, stop that, Barry, stop that. And he said, okay, well, let's go to the meeting. What we do now, we need to do some kind of, I don't know, damage control, some kind of crisis communications. We cannot just be like that. Well, Biden, for one, is trying to start World War III. But the good thing is that Donald Trump is not in office yet, and he's making all the calls needed to put people on their places. So that is a good thing. So maybe the Democrats have to do something, anything. Is this what they were thinking about? Not that I'm complaining. This is just comedy gold. This is meme gold. This is a fountain of meme gold that we can just enjoy about this for years to come. But they must be really desperate. And this is something that I need to address about the woke mind virus. They created this huge monster. I need to address this because this is important. So you understand the real predicament that Democrats are. And this is not a solution for their predicament. It's not like I say it and I will give them solutions. There's no solution to this. They created this monster. They created this brutal display of insanity, not only with abortion, not only with gender identity or DEI, all this stuff. And they really absolutely made sure to brainwash people, more than 70 million Americans, with this. Now, some of them did not want Kamala Harris and still voted for Kamala Harris. How do you get that back? How do you correct that curse? Because so many people, that would mean that you have to remove the woke mind virus to replace that with something else. Because the next time, in 2028, or the midterm elections, I don't know, the next time there are elections, if they have any kind of argument that has to do with DEI or gender or abortion, they're going to lose. And you have 70 million people that still are pushing for that. And they're going to lose again and again and again, unless they replace that with something